Alright guys, what is going on? What I really wanted to talk about today was my inclusion of fat grips. So, fat grips without the Z. This is the off-brand fat grips. So, grips that are large, the Amazon brand. I remember watching a video by Vegan Gains talking about increasing his arm size. He said he added a half an inch to his arms in 2 weeks. Now, when I watched this video initially, I didn't really care, considering, I've never really trained for aesthetics, never really trained my arms specifically, other than maybe the triceps to improve my bench press. But I never really cared about my arms, and I honestly think, even though now I do train for aesthetics and strength, but aesthetics as well, I've never thought that arms are specifically, super aesthetic, group of muscles. However, started to train arms recently because, understanding the relationship of the bicep and the tricep, thinking of the bicep as being a part of a movement that involves your tricep, I think is a good way to think about it. So it's kind of like, if you have strong quads, you also want to have strong hamstrings. If you have strong hamstrings, you also want to have strong quads and whatnot. You want balance in your muscles, both for maximal strength as well as injury prevention. And I do not plan to get injured, and I honestly don't really get injured ever. I have been injured, and I was kind of a lot in high school, and I think this was because of, maybe imbalanced training, overtraining, stuff like that. But anyway, I've found that arms in general, specifically biceps being something that I don't train, or at least recently started to train but didn't train in the past, I started to consider biceps as an actual, important muscle group, not necessarily in terms of aesthetics. Like, I don't plan on ever really flexing my biceps or anything like that. So, the peak or anything like that, I don't really care about. But just in terms of like strength. And then I do think that triceps are somewhat aesthetic muscle, but they are obviously very highly functional in pressing movements. And so I think having strong biceps is important for that. So it kind of got me thinking, what is the science behind these fat grips? So this guy's claiming that he gained size in his arms, whether that was tricep or bicep. I was interested because, I wanted strong arms to have a strong overhead press and to have stronger bench press. And so I was like, hey, how can I implement this into my training? So I looked into it. I looked into the training, why it would be beneficial. And basically, what I learned is that, and this may or may not be true, that older equipment, was generally meant for men, to be able, so the men are gripping the object. So whether that's a dumbbell, barbell, whatever, it's meant for men with large hands. So for me, I'm 6'3", I have pretty big hands. So I thought, for me, this is more important. These barbells are smaller, so therefore, any benefit of having a fat bar, or fat grips, imitating fat bar, I think would be more important for me, considering I have large hands. So I kind of looked into this, and a lot of people consider fat bar training, if they're like, into strength training and stuff, as kind of like this secret sauce, the secret weapon. And fat grips are basically just kind of replicating that. So basically the idea is the muscle recruitment is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be harder to lift weight, and it's going to improve your grip strength. So there's that. There's the muscle recruitment that they were talking about, and basically the idea is that, maybe it's kind of like the idea of, if you're into vertical jump, like your feet and your calves may not play as much of a role in terms of force development as your quads or your glutes or even your hamstrings. However, if you have weak ankles in general and the muscles surrounding them, then you will not be able to transfer that force efficiently. So the way I saw it was that, if I have strong forearms, strong wrists, strong hands, I would be able to transfer that strength that I have in my chest, in my shoulders, in my triceps, being able to transfer that more efficiently. So all of this sounded really good, and then I looked at, you can get the Amazon Basics ones, which are the ones that I got. I think they were like $13 or something like that. I got the extra large version because I didn't want to have to get I wanted to get the most benefit, I guess. And considering I have pretty large hands, I thought that was the size that I should get. They are pretty darn big, I think. I got the extra large, like I said, and they are pretty massive. But with things like bench press and stuff, they don't seem to affect it too much. But when you're doing pulling movements, it really tests your grip strength. So basically, I've been using those. So I've worked out the last 3 days in a row. I got them on Saturday. So I worked out tonight. I worked out yesterday morning, and I worked out Saturday morning when I got them. Or afternoon, I guess. So I've used them 3 days in a row, and I can already feel my forearms really getting a workout, and I like them, and I think, it's going to take a lot of time of using these to really gauge if they are effective, okay? But this is basically just me saying that most of my workouts, or all of my workouts, most of my exercises have been using the fat grips recently, and then I'm going to see over the next coming weeks, months, how I implement them. Do I do them on every single bench press? But basically, I've been using them on most of my benches, most of my overhead presses. Basically, I've been liking fat grips, and I'll see if, they can get some strength gains. But I'm going to try and continue this cut throughout the summer. So we're a little bit over halfway through June. I hope to make it at least through June, It's been going pretty good. I like it. I like the results. Definitely, going to try and finish the month at the very least. I think 2 months, I'd be pretty happy with that if I made it 2 months, but we'll see. And the main goal is to go all the way through the summer, but I don't know if I'll do that, but we'll see. So that's where I'm at, and I will keep you updated.